Chapter 1. Money, Time, and Interest Rates. Part 1. The time value of money. The root of all finance. Money doesn't just sit still. It moves, it grows, and it changes with time. The idea that money today is worth more than the same amount tomorrow. It's not just theory, it's the foundation of the entire financial system. Think about a basic loan. If you lend someone $1,000 today at 5% interest, in a year you'd expect back $1,050. But if that interest is compounded monthly or even daily, the returns grow faster. The shorter the cycle, the stronger the effect. Compound interest becomes a powerful engine for growth. But this isn't only about math. In finance, time is opportunity. When money isn't in use, something is being lost. Lenders know this deeply. They're not just after returns, they're after momentum. Over the centuries, this desire for speed has reshaped how we see both money and value. Part 2. Gold, the loser in the race for speed. Gold is timeless. It's beautiful, durable, and trusted. But it's slow, too slow. It's heavy, costly to store, difficult to transport, and hard to divide. In the old days, trying to lend using gold created endless complications. Then came paper money, and later digital money. Compared to gold, they moved like water. Light, fast, borderless. Now imagine a version of gold that's been updated with technology. A digital currency backed by real gold, stored securely but traded worldwide in seconds, thanks to blockchain. Why hasn't this taken over yet? Possibly because those in power, central banks, governments, major financial players, they prefer fiat currencies. These are the currencies they can control. So despite its enduring qualities, gold remains stuck, frozen in the past. Part 3. Cryptocurrency, the revolution of speed. Cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, represent the next major step forward. They ignore borders. They don't need banks. They allow people to transfer value almost instantly. If these systems are adopted widely, we could see interest calculated not by the year or even the month, but by the minute or the second. $1 million loan at 5% annual interest could be broken down into microseconds, generating income in real time. But this isn't just about better technology. It's about shifting power. Decentralized finance platforms, traditional banks, hedge funds, they're all racing to tap into this speed. Still, speed isn't the full picture. The other half of the equation is the asset behind the loan. Part 4. Tokenization. Turning everything into collateral. Let's say you own a piece of land outside the city. A bank might see it as too illiquid, too hard to sell or value quickly, to use as collateral. But if that land is tokenized, split into thousands of digital tokens that each represent a small slice of ownership, it suddenly becomes tradable. What was once a static asset becomes something dynamic, something you can value and borrow against right away. And this idea isn't limited to land. Imagine the Amazon rainforest. Every tree, every hectare turned into carbon tokens that can be bought and sold. Satellites track growth. Artificial intelligence calculates their value. Blockchain keeps it transparent. Lenders don't need to know what you own. They just need to see the value of your tokens. Or picture a solar farm in the Sahara. Every solar panel split into digital shares of energy output. A local resident could own 10 tokens and earn a small income. An international investor could buy 1,000 and use them to borrow money. Part 5. The eternal role of the lender. Lenders aren't too concerned about what the asset is. whether it's gold, land, trees, or electricity. What they care about is something much simpler. Can it be turned into a loan? Assets come and go. Their values shift. Some disappear entirely. But lending persists. Whether it's traditional banks or DeFi platforms, lenders adapt to whatever the era offers. They're shapeshifters, always adjusting, always finding new ways to profit. Think of assets like shiny leaves floating on the surface of a river. Some rise, some sink. But the river, the act of lending, keeps flowing. Lenders don't hold on to the leaves. They follow the current. Part 6. The Middle Ages, when lending shaped power. Back in medieval Europe, the Catholic Church was the wealthiest institution of its time. It owned vast lands, built great cathedrals, and held stores of gold. But lending at interest was forbidden. It was considered sinful, usury. So, while the church held immense wealth, much of it just sat there, locked away and unproductive. Meanwhile, Jewish communities, who weren't bound by the same religious restrictions, stepped in. They became the key lenders of Europe. They financed trade, construction, even war. But debt brings risk. In 1290, King Edward of England, who owed large sums to Jewish lenders, chose to cancel his debts by force. He expelled the Jewish population, wiping out what he owed with a royal decree. Later, families like the Medicis would take note. They learned from these early financial systems, building networks, creating tools, and laying the groundwork for what we now call modern capitalism. The lender didn't disappear. The role simply evolved. Part 7. From gold to tokens. The infinite adaptation. Today, that tradition continues. On Wall Street and in decentralized finance platforms alike. Lenders don't care if the asset is physical gold locked in a vault or a digital token stored on a blockchain. What matters is whether it can become credit. Picture a farmer in Brazil. He tokenizes his coffee harvest. A buyer in Japan purchases the tokens. A lender in Switzerland provides credit against them. The whole process, negotiation, trade, financing, takes just minutes. Or consider a solar company in Australia. It tokenizes its energy panels, offering fractional ownership. Thousands of investors buy in. Lenders don't need to see the panels, they just want the interest. Part 8. The Amazon, a future collateral. Let's go back to the Amazon rainforest. It's not just trees anymore, it's carbon, it's water, it's biodiversity. And when each hectare is tokenized, it becomes a financial instrument. Satellites monitor the growth. Tokens reflect the value. A hedge fund in London buys carbon credits, then uses them as collateral to borrow in New York. The money is reinvested elsewhere. No tree is cut down, yet the value is extracted. Lending, once again, finds a way to win. Part 9. Solar farms, when energy becomes money. Now picture a solar field in the Sahara. Thousands of panels collect sunlight, owned by large corporations. But with tokenization, everything changes. Each panel can be divided into digital shares of energy output. A local resident buys 10 tokens and earns a small return. A Swedish investor buys 1,000 and uses them as collateral for a loan. Lenders step in, orchestrating the system like conductors in a symphony. They don't care about the geography. All they need are the numbers. The token value, the data, the interest payments. Part 10. The unchanging truth of lending. From gold to digital tokens, across centuries and systems, one thing stays the same. Lending is eternal. Assets go up, they fall, they vanish. But the act of turning them into credit, that never ends. Think of it all as a river. The Amazon rainforest, the solar panels, gold, even the US dollar. These are just ripples on the surface. But the river keeps moving, and standing on the bank are the lenders, always watching, always tapping into its current. They don't need to own the water, they just know how to flow with it.